Okay, so now we're gonna get into probably more of what you remember from this unit in algebra, okay? Yesterday, we didn't like all of the pictures because our lines were not parallel, okay? And really, these relationships are special when we have parallel lines, and that's what we're gonna focus on today, okay? So let's just remember, because this is going to be important, that if we have parallel lines, there will be notation on our lines that they are parallel. You will have those arrows that match, that tells us, hey, these are parallel. And we're gonna talk here in a moment about what is special about our angle relationships when these are parallel. Okay. Will you remind me what it means to be supplementary?
182, 1 minus 180.
Okay. Okay, we have two angles that add together to be 180 degrees, okay? Supplementary will be a big word today. Okay. Let's also remember what vertical angles look like. Who can describe them to me? Harvey? Okay, so we kind of look like an X, right? Okay, so, and what's true about vertical angles? Okay. Okay, vertical angles are congruent. That's going to be important for today also. What's for lunch today? Nobody like looks at the menu to see what it is before.
Because I always have that.
Yeah, you guys have more options in the elementary. All right. So here is the cool thing. If we have parallel lines, cut by a transversal, okay? That is very important. If we have parallel lines cut by a transversal, then corresponding angles are congruent, okay? So I'm going to highlight in this picture and then erase it because we're going to use this picture over and over, all right? So angle 2 and angle 6, they're corresponding because P and Q are parallel. We know by this theorem that our corresponding angles 2 and 6 are congruent. We also know that angles 3 and 7 are congruent because they are corresponding angles. Okay. If two lines are parallel, cut by a transversal, then alternate interior angles are congruent. Okay. So 3 and 6, those are alternate interior angles. Since we have parallel lines, they are going to be congruent. They are the same measure. Okay. Angles 4 and 5, those are alternate interior angles. So they are going to be congruent since we have parallel lines. Okay. The same thing goes for if we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. Our alternate exterior angles are also going to be congruent. So 1 and 8 are alternate exterior angles. Since we have parallel lines, those are going to be congruent. Or if we look at angles 2 and 7, those are going to be congruent. Does that feel familiar from last year?
So what you're saying is that if we have a like big picture of a lot of vertical angles and like congruent angles, just knowing one of the degrees of an angle, we just know the entire angle.
Well, they would have to be parallel lines, but yes, if we know one, we can know them all. Okay. Go to the next page. The only one that's a little bit different is when we have two parallel lines cut by a transversal. What's going to be true about consecutive interior? Are they going to be the same? No, like 4 and 5 are the same. 3 and 6 are the same. What's going to be true about 3 and 5? They're going to be supplementary. Consecutive interior angles are going to be supplementary. Okay. 3 and 4 are supplementary because they're a linear pair, right? 4 and 5 are alternate interior angles. They have the same measure. Okay, so we can talk about how 3 and 5 are now supplementary. Okay, so consecutive interior angles like 3 and 5, those are supplementary. 4 and 6, those are supplementary. As long as we have parallel lines, these properties will hold. So while keeping your student journal open, turn in your math folder to page 2. Okay. We know that angle 1 is 65 degrees. Okay. So what does that mean for angle 2? Braden, how do you know that? Okay. We know that this is a linear pair. Right? What about angle 3? How do we know that? It's a vertical angle for angle 1. All right. What about angle 4? Okay. So we could say that this is a linear pair, right? With angle 1. Okay, so that's the boring stuff. Now let's actually use what we talked about on that page previous. What is the relationship with angle 1 and angle 5? What are they? They are corresponding. And because angle 5 is corresponding with angle 1, what does that mean about its measure? It's the same. Okay. I'm going to jump down to angle 7. Angle 7, what's the relationship with angle 7 and angle 1? Okay, angle 7 is an alternate exterior angle with angle 1. And what's true about alternate exterior angles? They're the same. So angle 7 is also 65 degrees. Okay. Now I know that we can use like linear pairs and vertical angles and all that stuff, but I really want to use all of the things we talked about on that previous page. So I want to talk about, we know, well, here's angle 6 right here, right? We know that angle 3 is 65. What's the relationship between angle 3 and angle 6? They are consecutive interior angles, which means they add to 180. Or we could say that angle 6 and angle 4 are what? Okay, we could say that they're alternate interior angles, right? And what's true about alternate interior angles? Okay, so if angle 4 is 115, then so is angle 6. Now I'm gonna highlight angle 8 and angle 2. What's that relationship? Okay. And alternate exterior angles, we know, have the same measure. So if angle 2 is 65, oh, angle 2 is 115, then so is angle 8. How about you do this? Don't worry about the reasons. I want you and your elbow partner or elbow partners to fill in our missing angles in example 2. All right. Ben, angle 1. Angle 2, Nora. Angle 3, Braden. Angle 4, Sam. Angle 5, Alex. Angle 7, Harvey. What? Okay. And angle 8, Alexa. Are we in agreement here? Okay, awesome. So I'm gonna have you go back to your student journal, and do you see how there's like this little space right here for notes? Okay, I'm gonna have you draw this picture. So this says 3x plus 4, and this says 15x minus 32. So you're gonna have some problems in your homework both today and tomorrow, where you're gonna have to do algebra, okay? The first thing you need to decide is what the relationship is. And you have two options. If you have parallel lines, two things can happen. Your angles could be the same, or they could be. And what would the difference be? What's special? They'd be supplementary. So either you're setting two angles equal to each other, or you're adding them together to set them equal to 180. Okay, in this case, what is our angle relationship? Okay, so since these are alternate exterior angles, what's true about their measure? Okay, so we know that 3x plus 4 better equal 15x minus 32. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna move 3x, I'm gonna subtract 3x to both sides to get 4 equals 12x minus 32. Are you okay with that? Add the 32 over to get, so what does x equal? Okay. What? So the angles measurements. Okay, so I could ask for x. I could ask for the angle measurement. I like that. Excellent. Okay, now, what if, bless you, what if we have this picture? Oh, really? Sorry. Yeah, it's a 33. So 5x plus 3 and 9x minus 33. What is the, while you're writing this down? Okay, back the train up. What's the angle relationship? These are consecutive interior angles, and because we have parallel lines and consecutive interior angles, we know they are. And since they are supplementary, the algebra tells us to say 5x plus 3 plus 9x minus 33 equals 180. Okay, I want to make sure that we understand why we're doing this. Okay, so what we have 14x minus 30 equals 180, right? So 14x equals, yeah, so what's x?
30.
Really?
No.
Oh,
It's 15, I think.
look at this. I have a plethora of calculators right here. 15 sounds good. Now, if I asked you for the angle of each measure, we'd be plugging 15 back in, and you better get two angles. Yeah.
No.
Mr. Wilkinson.
What'd you say? Hit the gritty?
Yeah.
I don't think you want me to.
Just really young.
She did not yell.
She was like, I'm allergic. Never